Okay.
Hello and welcome to the first round of the 2019 Irish Collegiate Championship for League of Legends. I am Whimsy. Alongside me this evening is Dawood Sandstorm. Dawood, and ready for our first game of the tournament here, a best of two between the newly named TUD and DCU.
Yeah, and I love the names that the guys actually went with. You got the TUD Apes and the DCU Titans. So That's going to be one hell of an interesting matchup. And honestly, looking at the matchups here or looking at the players from both sides, they seem to be pretty stacked. You got the Moo on one side, you got Rangus on the other, two of the best top laners that you can see around the country. So I can't wait to see how those guys fare against each other.
Yeah, both two colleges who have had different histories in terms of Division One, and will be looking for their first wins with Ice here in Division One throughout the competition. Here, like you said, two teams that should be fairly evenly matched. Excited to see this. Straight into picks and bans. We're already seeing a heavy focus on the top lane, which makes a lot of sense given both of these teams. Sengir, as he's on screen, we're going to call him Rengus, with 3 champions banned away. Fiora, Aurelia, Jax, big carries denied from him. On the other side, the Moo's going to be missing out on the Kennen, which I think is more of a classic thing that he has been going to, as well as Lucian in Italy. So DCU a bit more rounded out in terms of their bans.
Yeah, exactly. As you said, the focus towards Rangus, he's kind of like one of the key members that you want to try and focus down here in the first pick and ban phase. You don't want to give him any of those champions that he likes to play to apply that split push pressure in the later stages of the game. So you want to try and just deal with that as fast as possible. And you can see the pickups here already from the side of TU APES. They picked up the Scion in the top lane, and they got Rek'Sai in the jungle. And this is something that I've been waiting for such a long time. I have always been a huge fan of playing Rek'Sai in the jungle. She's been nerfed time and time again before, and we haven't seen her in ages. And I'm very excited to see what she can do and how she's actually going to fare in the current meta.
We do see the Camille looking like it might be the response to the Scion. I think Arenga's classic here, and given recent changes to Camille, I would be surprised if they want to put it in the jungle, but hey, we never know. But I definitely, if it is Rengus on that Camille, 100% excited. He's going to be the star player on that DCU side. Might as well give him a champion he can take over the game with.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I mean, she did receive a nerf recently. Not something too huge to kind of affect her completely. But I want to see what he's going to be able to do with the Scion, and more importantly, what runes is he going to be going for? Is he going to be going for the Conqueror after the recent changes in 9.4, or is he still going to stick with the Comet to try and poke down the Scion in the top lane? That is one thing I want to see. Now we're just going to be looking at towards the rest of the bans. We got the Caitlyn and the Kai'Sa. The next focus coming here towards Mezzi in the bottom lane. Not many options left. You already have the Lucian taken away in the first pick and ban phase as well. But still, I think the Ezreal might be the pickup here. You have the Sivir to try and wave clear as much as possible in the early stages, so maybe the TU Apes want to try and go for something that scales later on. But I think they look like they're actually hovering towards that Xayah. Not sure. So they are going to be locking in that Xayah with the Braum in the bottom lane for Mezzi and Blue Bulberry, and finishing it off with an Orianna in the mid lane.
Orianna, one of those classic mid laners, big team fighting presence, and we'll see how comfortable Celestion is on that champion. It does allow that counter pick over to DCU. Right now, hovering the Karthus, who has recently made quite a splash in the meta, more so in that jungle position than maybe in any of the lanes he would be classically accustomed to. But at the last moment, looking like it might be the Corki that is going to match up against the Orianna. Nice secondary damage source coming out of that mid lane to go along with the Sivir.
Yeah, exactly. But when I'm looking at the lineup here for the side of, well, not TUD rather, but DCU, the Titans, they don't really have a proper tank. So I'm curious to see how they're going to actually be playing the later stages and how they're going to be playing the team fights when it actually comes to it. Because most of their focus right now is going to be maybe trying to go for picks, because you have the Morgana to go with the Dark Binding. You have Camille who can also jump in the backline and use the Hextech Ultimatum to work in her favor. Meanwhile, if you look on the other side here, you can see that the Xayah, the Braum, you have a Scion as well. You have a huge tanky lineup, and you have an AD carry that can go untargetable as well. So it's going to be very difficult for Rengus to try and lock down that AD carry. And the next thing you know, if you actually want to try and jump in onto someone, you have an Orianna waiting with a Shockwave. So I think the TU Apes here, personally, I think that they actually have a better composition set up for themselves so far. But I want to see if the execution is also going to be on point, because that's going to be very, very key here.
And certainly. I think just with regards to talking about Rengus on that Camille, like you said, may be difficult for him to properly infiltrate a team fight the way Camille would like to get to those squishy members and have that quick, immediate impact. However, given just his individual prowess and what we're expecting out of him in the lane, I'd imagine that the focus would be on getting him ahead early, maybe sending Kaliamna's Xin Zhao to that top lane to try get a snowball going, and then just have him split push. Camille could be a fierce split pusher when ignored for just a little bit. So that might be the game plan around their start there. But on the other side, Mu definitely no slouch at home on those tank champions like Sion, and Sion, one of the premier tanks that you could be picking. May not be in for as big of a carry performance as he might like against some of the other top laners in the competition, but definitely well accustomed to holding down the fort and limiting the impact of his opponent.
Yeah, exactly. And just to kind of keep going with your point here about the Xin Zhao, and obviously, by the way, his name's got to be a mouthful. I'm going to need you to say that again just to know it. But yeah, I'm looking towards Moot in the jungle as well. It's going to be his job to try and be there to counter gank that Xin Zhao in the jungle, trying to see if he can actually just allow the Sion to survive for as long as possible and try to alleviate the pressure from the top lane. Because as you said, if you let the Camille get ahead in the early stages of the game, there's absolutely nothing that Sion can actually do to stop her from split pushing. And then you're going to be forced in a situation where you are a team fighting composition, but then you're going to be trying to send multiple people to stop the Camille from split pushing. And then next thing you know, you have picks coming at you left, right, and center. You have the Morgana going for the engage. You have Xin Zhao maybe trying to jump towards the backline as well. So there's a lot of things that the TU apes are going to have to deal with. And I guess it all relies kind of on the early stages and seeing what kind of pressure Moot can actually apply himself or how much he can actually alleviate off his laners as well. So this is something that's going to be very important to look at in the early stages of the game here.
Yeah, definitely. Rek'Sai, a champion pick that I know a few of the color casters have had it pegged as something that they're waiting to see, that's been rising up the ranks as potentially very strong. And yeah, Moot certainly feeling comfortable on it here, going up against Kaylee Amna, who's a newer name to the collegiate level. So I'm interested. Moot, a long-standing support player, but has role swapped for TUD, formerly DIT, on multiple occasions. Now going to that jungle position, certainly happy filling a lot of the roles and a solid hand. And I think, like you pointed out, the early game going to be a very important facet of how this matchup plays out, especially with these compositions. He will need to be on point as the jungler here. Another part I'd like to look at is the bottom lane as well, mostly because Blue Bullberry got his Braum, which is a fairly rare sight to see, given how one track minded he can be about playing that champion. But
Wait,
going up
Blueberry, one trick? Say it.
I didn't say it. I just said that he likes playing Braum a lot more than a lot of the other champions. No specific. I didn't use the one trick word, but yeah, I mean, going up against, I think, a very difficult to fight lane combo, the Sivir Morgana, that seems very just stand back, push the wave, disengage any of your CC with our 2 spell shields. But I don't think that the bot lane combo on TUD might care too much. They'll be looking more towards when they get that level 6 point and maybe things start grouping up for skirmishes more than about that individual lane power.
Yeah, exactly. And just to let you guys know, it is actually going to be a best of 2 for tonight. So we're going to have 2 incredible games from these 2 amazing sides here. And looking forward to see, actually, yeah, looking towards that Camille. I was actually talking about that before, seeing what runes she's going to be going for. And it looks like she is going to be going, or rather he is going to be going for that Conqueror. And obviously, since it was changed in 9.4, before it used to be, you know, getting that basic attack damage scaling, and then you're converting 20% of your damage into true damage. But now it's going to something a little bit more adaptive. You get between 3 to 15 adaptive damage, depending on your level, of course, and kind of stacks up to 5 stacks, I believe, to a maximum of 15 to 75. So the longer the fights go on, still you'll be applying a decent bit of damage. So I'm looking towards the Xin Zhao as well. He's going for the... That's very interesting. He's going for the Hail of Blades. Well, not really interesting. It's kind of what you would expect. And the Rek'Sai as well going to be going for the Hail of Blades as well. So very curious to see how that matchup is going to go. But ladies and gentlemen, we are loading into the game very, very shortly. The first game of this best of 2 between the TUD Apes and the DCU Titans.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. These 2 teams will have aspirations to go deep into the tournament. And yeah, I mean, you have to start off with a win against another high caliber opponent. So both these teams will need to be on point.
Let's have a look-see here. I'm currently still on the loading screen. Love the fact that I'm actually still not in the game, but it doesn't matter. We're jumping in soon. Yeah, but while we have some time as well, actually, just to give you guys also an idea of what the prizes are going to be. For the first place, of course, for Division 1, there's going to be 450 euros. That's a lot of money. And second place, of course, is going to be second place for Division 1, of course, is 200. Meanwhile, first place for Division 2 is 230. And second place in Division 2 is 120. Now, something very important for you guys to know, actually, is what you could do with that money is you can go over to Marvin.ie, who are our amazing sponsors throughout this tournament.
Aptly
And
placed plug.
Don't forget, you can use the code ICES5 for Season 5, of course, and get yourselves a 5% discount whenever you order on Marvin.ie. So there you go.
Yeah.
I'm currently having... Wait a minute. The client is just giving me a very special treatment today. I actually have no idea how to describe this, so I'm just going to restart.
Yeah, it's just waiting a couple of seconds before we get the spectator issues solved on our end. Hopefully we can get you in as soon as possible. But yeah, look, like I said, looking forward to this game between these two sides. I think just in terms of the experience levels of the players, we kind of have to paint TUD as favorites, but it's only slight favorites because, I mean, there'll be skilled, like experienced players, I think, on either side. DCU have that trump card in Rengus on the Camille in the top lane, and all in all, hoping that it plays out a balanced match between these two teams. This is what we're expecting. And hopefully some of the new names step up as well. I think Cyber Ninjas and Kaliana on the DCU side, as well as Celestion and Mezzi on that TUD side. Newer names to ICE. And if they can have some big performances here to start off the competition, that could really set the tone for the level people will come to expect out of them throughout the competition.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like I'm actually finally in the game. So no more spectator issues. And by the way, the spectator issues are actually happening absolutely everywhere, even in professional tournaments. So we are dealing with it. Just finding out what time should I be at so we can actually get in. Alrighty. Well, there's a problem with that. I can only be at the 2-minute mark. I love the client, by the way.
All right. Well, Dawood will be a little bit removed from this as we kind of get things sorted on our end, but hopefully we can. I believe we're at the 23-second mark.
I am at the 2-minute mark, waiting patiently.
We're having some, secret. Don't worry. We're having some secret communication with our observer as we try. We tried something new, but Riot Games decided to nip it in the bud with a little bit of a client crash. But we will be fine. As you guys can see, we are in the game now. It is TUD on the blue side for game 1, and it is DCU on the red side. Division 2 college, you could say. They've made the finals of a lot of Division 2 cups. I think every Division 2 tournament.
Yeah, and they've lost every single time.
They have lost every single time. But I mean, we're consistent second place. I mean, it's better than consistent third place.
They always lost to Trinity as well, didn't they, in the finals?
Not always Trinity. They lost to NCI before.
Oh yeah, NCI
I think
first.
this year they lost to Maynooth in the Div 2 final, or of the Winter Bash. So yeah. I mean, certainly there's a whole host of colleges that they lose to in the finals. But now they're looking to make a Div 1 final potentially, even win it. Who knows if they can make the dream run? Although obviously TUD would be looking to stop those plans as early as possible. Looking like both junglers starting off on those red buffs. Kaliana going leashless, so he may be silently cursing Rengus on his own end. But both these junglers likely not to interact unless they really stretch for one of the Scuttle Crabs.
Well, I should be joining very, very soon, by the way.
And yeah, I mean,
I'm in! I'm alive!
Good. All right, there we go. All right, we did it. It looks as if we have a pair of casters now. Looks like it may be some vertical jungling coming in. Kaliana is looking at that blue buff on the top side of the map. So if Moot's going for the standard jungle route on his own side, he will find his own buff to be gone. However, I'm not sure what the vision like is on their end. Let's see if he chooses to go for the blue buff on his own right now. He's taking that Scuttle Crab on the bottom side of the map. That could be a nasty surprise if he's not really expecting it here and just goes back to a standard jungle route to see that his buff, and now what's looking like it's going to be his Gromp as well will be taken away from him.
Yeah, but the question is, I think he did actually have the Ghost Spore set up in that Pixel Rush in the river, so they might actually know he's there. I'm not too sure about it. I think if he did, Moot would have actually rotated towards. I'm just gonna go with Xin Zhao's blue buff, but looks like we might actually see some action here in the jungle early on.
There he is. He's ran into him. He's down a buff, and Kaylee hammering away with the spear on Xin Zhao. Mu does back off to provide a little bit of support for Moot, but that's got to be a nasty one. Walking into your jungle, seeing a load of the camps being taken away from you, and Renga's actually thinking he can get the kill as he goes over with the hook shot onto this Rek'Sai. Moot does get the knock up with the Umburrow. Renga's going to flash forward and finishes it off with the precision protocol. First blood to the DCU top laner.
Very, very well played out of Rengas. Absolutely beautiful. And the fact is, Moot did have his flash. He was just greeting for it so hard for absolutely no reason, and we were talking about this before. It was his job to try and alleviate the pressure from top lane. Instead, he goes and gives a kill to the person you really don't want to be giving a kill over to. Rengas now has a kill. He's going to be coming back to lane with 2 long swords against the Scion. Not the best of starts here for TUD, or rather for DCU. TUD should be pretty happy with themselves. Wait a minute, no, other way around.
I think that, yeah, I think it's fair play to Kaylee though. Going for a risky start, going for that leashless start, and then thinking, all right, well, this Rek'Sai is going to be on the bottom side of the map, probably going to go for that Scuttle Crab. I can maybe sneak away this blue buff, and then realizing that this Rek'Sai, seeing the Rek'Sai on a ward on the bottom side of the map, goes for the Gromp as well. Just waits around on full health, knows that he can take the fight, and then Renga, seeing the low health Rek'Sai, knows exactly what to do in that situation. And first blood to the Camille is exactly the start that DCU wants in this game. He'll need a while to maybe catch up on a bit of the farm that he would have lost on that excursion, but still, he is going to be sitting pretty with all that extra gold to start this game off.
Yeah, and not only that, he actually has the red buff as well, so he's going to have even more slows. He's going to have a little bit of a burn over time as well against the Moot in the top lane. Going to be an even more difficult lane here, but you can see they're trying to make up for those mistakes. They're trying to make plays. They're pushing down bot lane, trying to see if they can actually get the priority towards the jungle and see if they can invade and try and take one camp, or trying to take a buff away, trying to get something in return for Moot to make sure that he actually stays in the game. See how they're going to be able to do that, actually. It's still going to be one hell of a rough start. Now, one thing I actually want to point out as well, first dragon, going to be a Clown Drake. A little bit of a fiesta going to be having later on in the game. Well, we'll see how or who's going to be prioritizing that objective. I think, again, every time you say the name, I'm trying to remember it. I forget it. I'm just going to go
Kiliamna.
Kiliamna. There we go.
Yeah, that's what I could be mispronouncing that. It's always the weird one with those
just make it easy. Why? Just make it easy. Just make it easy for us. Why
I mean,
you gotta give
it's
us a hard
unique.
time?
There's worse ones you could go for. You could go for something that's just kind of dodgy. Not exactly.
Yeah, a few names do come to mind that we had to use over the cast. People's names that we couldn't really say on the cast. Thank you very much for that, by the way.
Yeah, the casters.
We have a hard time.
When you have those names.
Yeah,
but
we have a little bit of a hard time sometimes, but
yeah, we do see the top lane. Rengas does hit 6, so has the Hextech ultimatum available now when it does come to these trades. However, Moot may be looking to equalize things to the top side. Ultimate's available. They started off with the unstoppable onslaught here, and the quick damage coming through. Hookshot might be enough to get Rengas away. He is down a flash, but I think he's managed to create enough distance. The flash forward though, as Moot looks for the stun, they should be able to have enough damage to finish it off. Moot gets revenge for the early kill got on him by the DCU top laner.
Yeah, very well played. Finally, they're able to get something back. Finally, capitalizing on the fact that Rengas doesn't have his flash, and this is something you need to abuse here for the next few minutes. And I think he only has his flash available in the next minute, so maybe when he TP's back, maybe try and go for another play here in the top lane to make sure that you have the move, or rather you give him exactly what he needs to survive in the early laning phase, because right now he's a few CS ahead and he's getting there. He has the ninja top bite to survive, but now you can see Xin Zhao heading towards the top lane.
Yeah, we do see the instant teleport back here, and Kaylee's going to jump on in. They should be able to get the kill. Rengas is given over to him. Moo in that zombie form, trying to see if he can find anyone, but that was just a clean response. Rengas with the instant teleport back to the lane. DCU jungler popping up at just the right time, and they get themselves back in front.
And again, this is exactly what we're expecting, because you said it yourself before when we were in the pick and ban phase. The pressure is going to be on top lane. The focus is going to be on top lane and on getting Rengus ahead. So far, 2 kills. He's even on CS, so he's doing very, very well for himself. And right now, he is about 600 gold ahead of the Scion. So the thing that people need to be worrying about at this point is the second that the Camille, the second that Rengus gets to that Triforce. Of course, that's going to be still another few more minutes. But once he actually gets there, it's going to be extremely difficult for Mu to deal with that.
Yeah, this is something that I think the whole of the TUD comp will have to adapt around, because the split push threat is definitely real. And it's always tricky to maneuver around it, especially when you have a top laner that can't necessarily scale into that 1v1 on themselves. There's no chance to kind of reverse how that matchup scales out. So we'll see if there is any response across the map from TUD. In the meantime, the bottom side has been fairly inactive. We can see that Cyber Ninjas in that mid lane has managed to get a nice farm lead for himself on that Corki. So aside from their top laner getting himself in a good spot, they can also rely on that Corki in the mid lane to be a big presence in the team fights as well as that Sivir, who is obviously going to scale up.
Exactly. And one thing to point out, oh, Rengus going for it again. Just applying a little bit of pressure here, just dealing some damage.
You say a little pressure, that's the mood chunked out, and he has to be wary of another all-in. Rengus has that flash up, ultimate coming up in a few seconds as well, so he can really leverage those tools in a dive. However, Mu may be looking for a play on the top side himself, and Mu's going to start this off with the ultimate. The hook shot does not get the Camille far away enough, and flashes into the knockup. We see a flash from Mu under the tower as well. A lot of tower damage onto that Rek'Sai means he cannot finish the attack. The Prey Seeker is so close at the end, just about missing, and close calls for both Moot and Rengus. Cyber Ninjas showing up at the end there just to maybe escort his top laner to the safe back that he was already going to get. And once again, neither team able to find anything off of that gang.
And there was actually a lot used in the play in the top lane, but looks like there's another play towards the bot lane.
Used as the Xin Zhao shows up in the bottom lane here. Blueberry going to be knocked up after the flash, and he will be going down. However, nice response from Mezzi, able to equalize that trade. It's a 1-for-1 kills for Kaylee and Mezzi in that bot lane gang.
And very well played so far. Being able to trade 1-for-1 in a 2v3 is always good for the side of the TU Apes. They'll take that trade any day. Now, just to go back towards the top lane here. You got a flash being used by Mu. You got a flash used by Rengus as well. And the fact that Void Rush was available, he was level 6. He would have sacrificed his life and he would have given a kill over to Rengus as well, unless Mu started tanking it while Mu was underground right before he would jump onto Rengus. So they might have been able to try and make a kill here, but Killiam, that looks like he might be in a little bit of danger.
Instant ultimate from that Xin Zhao, but he still might be in trouble here as they all just jump in right onto the Xin Zhao. Blueberry will steal that kill. He needs to get that Braum fed up and ready to party, but equalizing the score at 3 apiece by capitalizing on the overextension from Kaylee.
Very well played, trying to make a play here. Killiam, that was just a little bit too aggressive here. He didn't have the priority in bot lane. Annihilation and Witzel weren't anywhere close to actually be able to back him up. He was just trying to clear a ward on his own. Remember, buddy system. You always need to have someone with you when you're clearing or when you're placing down wards.
Yeah, friends are important, guys. Don't neglect them. But in this case, it does mean that TUD have closed up the gold gap quite a bit. It's down to a few hundred now in favor of DCU. Still relying on their top lane, solo lane advantage, I think, more than anything. Just having a look at the individual gold advantage. Rengus about 600-700 in front, so the Camille is exactly where she wants to be. Small lead for the Corki as well, but it's mostly negated. In fact, actually by the difference in supports, which is not really what TUD want. That's probably the worst place that your gold could be going. Maybe hoping that they could have donated that kill a little bit differently, but certainly by no means out of it, given how even the rest of the map is.
Yeah, you got a 700 gold lead on the support on that Braum, so he's going to be pretty tanky when it comes to it. When they come to try and attempt those dives later on, it could be pretty beneficial when they try to attempt them, I guess, at that point. But Rengus just trying to poke at the Mu here, but I think also like the more Mu keeps on proccing that Grasp of the Undying, the more minions he kills, he just keeps on getting tankier and tankier. So Rengus will still be able to apply that pressure, but it'll just take him a little bit more time. And I say that
Witzel's thinking of going for the Soul Shackles used. A nicely timed ultimate from Mezzi will deny a bit of damage, but it still procs. This Xayah is low, and Blue Bullberry will have to tank up a Dark Binding here, forced to use an own ultimate as well. But here comes Kyliamna, has flash available to close the gap. We see the flash from Mezzi immediately, but the dash was just not in range. The Binding does connect, and the Jin can finish the kill off under tower. However, Moot was taking the Drake and is now looking to see can he clean up any kills. Celestial is there as well. We see the ultimate come out from Moody, finishes it off. Shockwave is dodged by the stopwatch, but that will condemn Witzel to death. 2 kills for TUD in the bot lane off the back of the Cloud Drake they were able to take.
But they're not done yet. Here comes Cyber Ninja.
He does jump down with the Valkyrie, but I don't think he wants to jump too far as there's still quite a little bit of health. He'd likely trade 1 for 1, and I'm not sure if he values that too much, so he will leave the trade at 1 apiece.
Very, very well played by the side of TUD towards that bottom side of the map, rotating at the right time. And finally being able to use that Void Rush to secure a kill. And then the Shockwave coming in at the perfect time as well, forcing the stopwatch out of Witzel and still being able to secure the kill. That's going to be pretty huge. And now you're looking at Mezzi. You're looking at a Xayah who already has that Essence Reaver. So she can constantly spam out those spells, constantly keep up the pressure, and keep up with that wave clear that that Annihilation has rather on that Sivir.
You can see Mu cancelling the base and then throwing up the pig emote. These two are definitely familiar with each other in this top lane, so you imagine they both want something to prove. So far, Renga's doing most of the proving, but Mu's been doing a good job himself keeping the matchup even in farm and playing it fairly defensively, but Kyliamna may be looking to disrupt things a little bit, heading up towards that top side with the sweep run. Renga's now able to jump on in, gets the stun. Kyliamna now going to jump onto the target, locked in the Hextech Ultimatum. It's a tanky Xayah, but they're able to cut through all of that armor. Rengas gets his 3rd kill of the game, trying to get a revenge kill here. We see Muto jump up after the Jin ultimate is used and gets a return kill. Rengas though so close to taking him out, flashing forward to try and finish that kill off, forcing Mute's own flash. Not able to finish it, so it's a 1 for 1 in the top lane.
And once more, Moot is able to respond. He is able to counter gank Kyliamna. Not at the right time though. He was still able to come back just in time to secure and trade a 1 for 1 in the top lane. Rengas almost making it a 2 for 1 trade, but so far Moot is showing up on that Rek'Sai. I was actually surprised that the Void Rush was already back up so quickly. Only an 80-second cooldown so far. 2 Void Rushes and 2 kills for that Rek'Sai. Very well played by the side of TUD so far. And now they're just 300 gold behind. The only problem is that the CS differential in the mid lane, Cyber Ninja's about, what, 34 CS ahead. It's quite a huge lead. And he already has a 450 gold bounty without a single kill or assist, all from farming.
Now this Corki about to get that Trinity Force, which is when that champion really begins to come online. But they are keeping it even. Moot, after a pretty disastrous start to the game, getting killed by Rengas so early on, he has really managed to bring things back together. 3-1 and 2 on this Rek'Sai, big impact on those bottom lane ganks, also applying good pressure to the top side of the map. Probably one of the best recoveries you could ask for after falling so early on in the game.
Yeah, exactly. Now I just want to look once more towards both of these junglers. I'm going to look towards that itemization. They are dead even so far. I think their items are actually exactly the same, in the exact same order when it comes to wards, potions, ninja tabi, everything. The only difference is the fact that he went for the Skirmisher Saber. Kyliamna went for that Red Smite. Well, Rek'Sai went for the blue one. Now Rengas just going to try and clear some vision. Meanwhile, you can actually see at TP there's a play to be made towards the bottom side. Witzel is in danger.
Flash from Blue Bullberry. He really wants to get this started, and yeah, Witzel completely isolated with all 5 players from TUD swarming on his location. They get that kill, make it 7-5, and have the gold pretty much tied up here, looking to convert it into that first tower in the bottom lane. And with multiple people pushing, they should be locked to get it, even with Rengas on that top side.
Yeah, exactly, and the plates fell just a few minutes ago, so it should be pretty easy for them to secure this turn. There we go. First brick gold going over to TUD here. gonna get themselves a slight gold advantage, and now you have the dragon as well coming up in 30 seconds, and it is going to be yet another Cloud Drake. Let's see if they're gonna be able to get it as well here. TUD will be super fast when it comes to engaging and disengaging a team fight, and now, as I say that, a play is gonna be made, a TP is gonna be coming in, and they spot it out.
Rengus has found himself a Sand Shark here. Mood in a lot of trouble, will go down. 4th kill of the game to Rengus, and this Camille is, I think, what you could call definition of a problem. Now looking to cause a problem for Moo here if he can land the CC. Whistle there, Tunes back him up, does connect with the binding onto the stun target. Celestium though, going over the wall, has the shockwave, but they will be able to turn this around before the kill comes through. Nicely timed intervention, but Cyber Ninjas leaps over the wall, has the Corki ultimate rocket, finishing it off by firing it into the Moo, and manages to finish off that kill at the end. Rift Herald being used in the mid lane to get that tower as well. A great passage of play from DCU. Started off with the teleport from their top laner and ended with the tower going down mid.
Yeah, and that's actually very sad. The fact that Shelly was able to get yet another dash onto that tier 2 turret in the mid lane. And once more, Rengus is slowly becoming a beast. And as I said before, the second he gets that Trinity Force, it's going to be a huge, huge problem to deal with. That's exactly what he is. 4-2 on 141 CS. And he's going to be getting that. I think he's going to be going for the Ravenous Hydra rather than the Titanic. It's going to be even deadlier when it comes to it. And now they seem to be rotating towards the dragon. The vision is in favor of the side of DCU here. See what they're going to be able to do. You can see a couple of words, 2 control words, because 1 is not enough in the dragon pit. Now, I just want to point out one more thing here. The fact that Mood just constantly keeps getting caught out here by Rengus. The second time he actually died was... first time he died was at the beginning of the game, giving the kill to Rengus. And once more, he gave another kill to Rengus with the shutdown gold. I believe it was, what, 600? Or 750 was the bonus that he actually had? Giving that away to Rengus is just making a situation so much worse for the side of...
Yeah, I think it was what looked initially like a bold teleport from the DCU top laner, but he knew exactly what he was doing there. Found the isolated member, and now he's actually looking to see if he can isolate Blue Bull Berry here, but he's backed up in that Hextech ultimatum by the rest of his team. Soul Shackle's being used to see what it can do in terms of lockdown, but the lock up comes through as Mook goes to the back line, looking for Kaliamna. They focus at the Rex side, but the kill still comes through. Make that 2 for Mook before he falls to Cyber Ninjas, who has to just play back in the bush with his team facing the deficit in terms of numbers around that dragon pit. It is a 2-for-1 with both of the TUD kills going over to the Rex side. Looking to start the Drake without their jungler, but Kaliamna's down as well.
Yeah, and I have to say, beautifully played by Mood here, making sure that he's able to get the knockup once more onto Rengus, denying him that last auto attack that surely would have meant Mood's death. So being able to trade 2-for-1, getting a second Cloud Drake with a third on the horizon as well. They're going to be very fast here when it comes to rotations, when it comes to trying to clear wards or engaging, making a play here. Be very, very beneficial for the side of the TU Apes. So far, yes, every now and then they're making mistakes, but the Rek'Sai is getting fed slowly but surely. Now, Rek'Sai has the Black Cleaver, so the Armor Shred is going to be even stronger when it comes to it, when it comes to trying to make those picks and get those kills, making it even easier for Mezzi on that Zaya to get those kills, because one thing to point out as well in that team fight is the fact that they kind of lined up in front of the Dragon Pit for Mezzi to be able to use the Blade Caller. He was able to deal so much damage to both Witzel and Kiliamna when it came to it. And it just absolutely shred the lineup of the side of the DCU Titans.
Yeah, everything falling into place in that team fight. Mood proving to be a menace on the Rek'Sai in this game. However, still, I think DCU will be looking for that 1-3-1 now. They've settled into this stage of the game. They have the Corki and the Camille for those side lanes, and both are fairly strong in their own right. We'll see how well they can execute on that strategy, though, as the game goes on. Might be waiting for Rengus' teleport to come back up for them to fully utilize the split push against this TUD side, who've already proven to be pretty strong when it comes to these skirmish scenarios. Also looking fairly solid when it comes to the team fights as well.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing I actually want to point out here as well, when I'm looking at the Moo, is the fact that Rengus is going for him once more. He has the Hectic Ultimatum ready as well.
Yeah, he manages to get about half health off that Scion, who's obviously stacking the armor, proving to be pretty tanky, but as this lane goes on, the Camille should be sorted to just chip away until she's happy to secure the kill with that ultimate.
Now, one thing I'm actually curious as to why a Thornmail hasn't been picked up yet by Moo. Because the fact is, most of the damage, of course, we can't forget that Corki does a lot of magic damage, but still, against something like a Sivir, of course, the Xin Zhao and the Camille, a Thornmail would be pretty damn handy to have in a fight.
Yeah, it's just choosing maybe not to go for it yet in the build. Seems to be building towards that Warmog's armor just for self-sustain, but Rengus was able to push him out of the lane long enough that he can take DCU's third tower of the game. All of this structure focus allowing them just a bit over a 1,000 gold lead, so they're holding on to a small advantage in terms of the gold. They've kind of had it all game, and even with TUD getting the kills, DCU making the right moves to keep themselves just slightly out in front.
Yeah, exactly. And the next thing that both teams should be looking at the moment is that Baron. That's going to be very, very hard to execute when it comes to the side of TUD, because you're going to have Rengus split pushing on the bottom side most of the time. Maybe even have Cyber Ninja splitting towards the top, because both of them do have those TPs. They're always going to be able to join those fights. So TUD need to try and set themselves up for that Baron fight, or at least trying to go for the Baron and force a TP or two off of Rengus or off of Cyber Ninja in order to make, I guess, another attempt after that. The point is they have to try and fade it as much as possible in order to make it easier for them to secure the Baron, because if they allow both TPs to be left available uncontested, yeah, looking at that Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, denying that Scuttle Crab. Blueberry stole that kill early in the game, now he's stealing the crabs. I think we found his specialty at the support position.
And the fact that he stole it from a Corki as well. A Corki with a Rapid Fire and the Trinity Force. This is like when I was looking towards the Fnatic Vitality game. Tom Kench stealing another dragon.
Well, okay.
That's a yikes. Yeah. I'll say that.
That was the karma, one could say, for his thievery of prior. I'm just still looking to see if he can steal a kill onto the backline here, going for Celestion, popping that stopwatch immediately, but the focus onto this backline is great to stop, or the shockwave is there, I should say, to slow him down, but the shutdown still comes through onto Moon. However, they trade it back, jungler for jungler so far in this fight. Moon trying to see what he can do as this front line here, and he's just soaking up the damage as the rest of TUD spit it out. Moo gets the kill onto Annihilation, who was just a bit too far forward for an AD carry, and once again, it is TUD who take away the teamfight win.
And I'm looking towards yet another engage here, maybe coming out from the side of the DCU Titans, because you have a few low health bars here on the side of TUD, but look at this, Mezzi's back to full HP, Moo back to full HP, he has the Warmogs. You have a little bit of sustain as well on Mezzi. He's just taking the damage, he doesn't even care about it. That's exactly what you need to be seeing from your tank, exactly what you need to be seeing from that front line. Now, Trinity gonna try, or rather DCU gonna try and set themselves up for a dragon pick here, but I don't think Moo's having any of it. He's gonna try and stop it, maybe try and go for a steal.
He goes to the pit. It is finished off by Cyber Ninjas. Rengus does have the hook shot to get away. There should be enough escape between all of them to make it out. Witzel, though, maybe just misplacing that blast plant a little bit, but the Morgana is quick enough to just sneak around the wall. However, Rengus currently being chased.
I don't think he even cares if Moot was chasing him. If Moot goes for the fight, he's gonna lose.
I think it's not just Moot he has to worry about, though. The rest of TUD are also drifting towards Rengus' position, but that Camille certainly quick enough to make it out fairly sharpish, and seems to have gone to safety. One quick last hook shot, however, Moot's actually going to follow with the Void Rush, and not much damage following that, though, so ultimate used, maybe just scare Rengus a little bit, but the Camille is still fine.
Yeah, Camille should have been fine, and not much vision available for Rengus to know if the team was behind him or not. He didn't want to risk it, so he just decided to try and run away here. And there's been a constant battle for that one ward in the bush. Look at how many red dots you can see, and yeah, another ward gets placed down. Everyone just wants control of that single brush in the mid lane.
It's a vital part of the map to be getting vision. You know, it's the key area. Teams need information on that spot 100% of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
High level macro League of Legends, man. That's
how it
works. But
this is what we expect. This is the Irish Collegiate Championship. This is Division 1.
Big brain. But I actually would like to point out something that you actually mentioned in Champion Select, how the composition of DCU didn't really have that true tank, and when it comes to these last fights, you can see Moo, who is the only real tank in the game, literally just sitting at the front of the fight, soaking damage for days. And when all of the damage from DCU is being soaked up and all of the damage from TUD is kind of hitting the squishy members, which is the whole composition, it allows TUD to be getting those kills. So certainly that part of the path working out in their favor so far in this game. We'll see if that has a sustained effect, but so far, just the roundness of their composition benefiting them quite nicely in terms of these fights.
Yeah, exactly. And talking about Moo and his tankiness, just to give you guys an idea, he currently has exactly 1,000 bonus HP from the Soul Furnace. Constantly from getting those minions, from getting those kills and assists. It's a lot of HP.
He's a big lad. He's looking like that Scion from the Awakened cinematic. But
that's one thick boy.
Yeah, Rengus though, looking to see if he can take on the thick in that split push. It's kind of his role right now, and the Camille should still be in a good spot to trade this with those two completed items. Now looking to build up towards what I imagine is Stark Gauge. Moo thinks he has a fight here because his jungler is coming on down. Can Rengus make the outplay here 1 versus 2? Pops the Hectech ultimatum to maybe force them away, but now the rest of TUD is collapsing. Rengus tries to go over the wall, but is flashed on by the 80 carry. Not every day you see an 80 carry flash onto a Camille, but Mezzy does come away with his third kill of the game. Where Boobleberry might be caught out. His flash binding from Whistle does catch him out. You see the Glacial Fisher response, so Boobleberry might be okay, because once again, the rest of TUD are collapsing, and they collapse onto Galeamna, who falls for the 6th time this game, looking for the shockwave onto Annihilation. It does not connect. A heal used by the Sivir, but it does not matter because Messi can once again follow up for the kill, and the rest of DCU, the two remaining members, are sent scattering as all 5 are still alive from TUD, and they are going to go for that Baron.
Yeah, and we talked before about the composition, the fact that the side of DCU are the ones that are going to be able to make those picks, but TU Apes give them a taste of their own medicine here, taking down Rengus, and then as soon as they take down the most important member on the side of DCU, they switch towards the Baron, and
that was close. I saw a phosphorus bomb there that might have been able to take it away. Rengus looking to see what he can take away with the teleport down. Can this Camille make the big play? All 5 members, though, grouping as tight as they can, huddled together like penguins in the Antarctic. And they do make it out alive without giving over any of those Baron buffs. All 5 on TUD now buffed up and ready to push these lanes.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful play coming out from the side of the TU Apes here. As soon as they took down Rengus, they took the fight. They were able to secure 3-4 members. And they were able to go for that Baron. Now they extend their lead to just 1.4. It's not a huge lead, but the fact that they have the Baron right now is very, very important. And now you have a Mountain Drake spawning as well within the next 20 seconds. So at this point, there's one choice that the side of DCU have to make. Do they try and go for the fight at the Dragon, or do they try and stop the push that's currently happening in the mid lane? Yes, you have a Sivir. Yes, you have a Corki that can actually clear those waves pretty easily. But it's still just going to take a little bit longer because of that Baron buff.
Yeah, right now, looking to get... They've only taken 1 Terra so far, so a lot of standing gold now set to come the way of TUD over the next couple of minutes, provided they go for those easy to take towers. First one will fall in that mid lane, and still with quite a bit of juice left in the tank, keeping that siege going in the mid lane. Not looking to split their buffs for the moment, maybe wary of the plays that Rengus or Cyber Ninjas could make on those side lanes. Happy to keep grouped up as 5 and let the waves do the work.
Secondly, they're able to secure 2 turrets very quickly in the mid lane. Let's see how far their push will actually go. The Sivir's just trying to clear as much as possible. Annihilation here, using the Boomerang Blade and using that Ricochet to try and take care of those minions as quickly as possible. Now you can see that still the tier 1 turret in the top lane is still alive. So curious to see when someone's actually going to try and go to that lane, or see if they can actually apply pressure elsewhere. As you said, there's a lot of standing gold, and trying to take down an inhibitor turret in the mid lane, while there's still a tier 1 in the top lane, a tier 2 in the bottom lane. It's going to be a very, very tall order for them to try and execute here.
Yeah, right now, I think it's just a case of play it defensively, although Rengus hovering in that bottom side jungle, maybe thinking of another flank, but he's just not really been able to pull them off as well as he would like throughout this game. In any case now, these waves look to push tier 3. DCU staying strong in that mid lane push. I imagine there's quite a bit of time still left in this Baron buff that they can use, but I wonder, do they want to split? Look, right now the waves though aren't in a good spot. They would have to take quite a bit of time to reset and get those waves pushed, so maybe it is their only option to stay in this mid lane if they want to get towers, but also look at a Mountain Drake as well if they want to peel back for that.
Yeah, that's the thing. They shouldn't even be in the mid lane at the moment, because what if they're going to try and go for a dive? There's the play.
Yeah, looking for the engage here. Finds the stopwatch just in time. Has to flash out of the knockup from Sion, or the fight is mid. Although Mezzi was just chipping away at Annihilation until he goes down completely. And now with the AD carry gone, big source of wave clear, and the rest of TUD want to push for Moo wants to fight. He jumps in, but he's taken out immediately by Kayleamna. Key member down for TUD, but they still have 4 who just peel back for the inhibitor. Will take it and walk away. No Baron buff left, so they do not want to keep this push going, but with the base broken open, they are firmly in the driver's seat.
Yeah, but it took such a long time, but finally Rangus decides that he's just sick and tired of waiting, tries to go for an engage himself using the stopwatch, but you're not really the person who's supposed to be doing that. You're not supposed to be the person trying to make those picks when you're jumping into a whole squad. You're jumping into a team that basically it just doesn't work. That's something that you shouldn't be doing. Try to engage in the middle of a Sion, a Braum, and then you have a Celestion as well on the Orianna, who does have a Zhonya's. You have an AD carry who has the Feather somewhere to escape as well. Not really the best of situations, so just being impatient forced him to try and make a play, and it didn't work out for them whatsoever. Annihilation was left to fend for himself, and he was just standing there taking a few shots from Mezzi. It was easily picked up here, but again, the play in the mid lane shouldn't have even happened, I feel, from the side of TU. They should have just rotated towards the top side. As soon as they got the tier 2 in mid lane, reset, go to top lane, go to bot lane, and apply pressure into the side lanes. Because there's just too much wave clear from the side of the DCU Titans to try and deal with those minions. Even if they're baroned up, they're gonna try and deal with them as quickly as possible.
Yeah, we'll see what the option is. Next Baron in just over a minute, and you have to imagine TUD are feeling very good about how these fights are shaking out every single time. They might just look to go for the classic control play around that area of the map. With veteran players in jungle and support, you have to imagine that their vision in the area will be on lockdown as much as possible. There's still that top lane tier 1 for them to take if they want to. Well, they have to take it in order to just cement their pressure in the area, but I think they're in a really good spot with this Baron coming up to just keep executing on their game plan. DCU with all 5 members though collapsing on this top side, maybe looking for a play. Witzel will need to land a binding with the teleport immediately from Moo to help his team out before they get caught out at a numbers disadvantage. Actually flashing forward, maybe looking for Rengus here, able to go over the wall, followed by Moo, but Moo has been caught out. The shockwave will actually hit Rengus though, only it does not catch members of DCU, but it's enough to take out the Camille, and now Moo looking to charge on in, see who he can find. DCU immediately running for the hills, not wanting to take that fight with their top laner already gone. Baron has just spawned, and TUD 5 versus 4 on the map can do whatever they want. And I think my co-caster has died. I'm not sure. We'll see. Okay, I think Dawood has died for the end of this game, unless I've died for the end of this game, in which case, it could be a Discord. It could be a Discord issue. I'm not quite sure, but in any case, it looks as if TUD were able to clean up on the top side of the map, get those 2 towers in the top lane, and now actually, instead of peeling straight back for Baron, looking to see if they can catch someone out. But Witzel, they have a little bit of vision towards that pit. They know that it hasn't been started yet. They know that DCU haven't crossed over that ward just outside the Baron pit, and we're able to not walk into the trap. But still, a big advantage for TUD here. Yeah, unfortunately, Sandstorm's computer has crashed, so I will be solo for the next while. Because hopefully we get him back into the game as quickly as possible. DCU will be hoping to get back into the game as well. The gold deficit is still not that much. It's only 4,000 in favor of TUD, but it's just the way these team fights have been working. DCU have not been able to execute the strategy that would seemingly benefit their composition the most. Just Rengus and Cyber Ninjas have had no time to go towards these side lanes, with people seemingly getting picked off or looking for these engages almost Move proving to be a fairly effective engage tool with that Scion ultimate. In any case, Rengus does have the teleport up, so maybe he can do some damage splitting in that bottom lane. I would still take him in a 1 versus 1, but Mu looking to capitalize with an engage in the mid lane, using that unstoppable onslaught, and he is running quite a distance, sending DCU away. Rengus has backed off from the side lane, not choosing to teleport up. He has time. They've pulled the Camille away from that bottom lane, so a nice job doing that, removing that point of pressure. Now they're turning straight on to the Baron. I don't know how much information DCU have on this. They're going to wrap around the pit, but that thing is dropping so quickly. That will be taken before DCU even get a foot in the door. Second Baron of the game over to TUD. They're going to lose their bot inner tower, I would say. Rengus able to kick that one down, as Camille tends to do, but look how low that mid lane tower is as well. That's a bit of gold. It's so close to the taking for DCU, but they just have not been able to get it, whereas TUD have been executing for the most part throughout this game. And now with this Elder Dragon spawning in 5 seconds, this could be another big neutral objective going over to TUD. With all of the pressure in the area right now, they could possibly just burn this down. Although DCU do know it's going down. They did have a ward in that Elder Dragon pit, and that has been cleared out. But it has given time for DCU to get bodies into the area. It is going to be started though. We saw how quickly that last objective went down. Mood peeling off though, maybe thinking of an engage. On the hunt is used. DCU want to get in, want to see what they can pick off. A nice binding at the front of the fight will force Mood to pop a stone plate, but Mood jumping onto that Simmer, not able to get a lot of damage down. Annihilation though is completely split. This is the worst place to be as the AD carry. Trying to see can he turn the crits back around, but he is not able to kill Mood before he falls. First death of the fight is the AD carry, and that could be a death sentence for DCU as TUD back off the Elder Dragon. They're just going to look to push up this mid lane with that inhibitor respawning. They want to take it down. However, Rengus thinking of an engage from the backside, able to dodge out of the ultimate as well. Shockwave will pull Kaliamna in though, and Mezzi cuts him down for a 7th kill of the game. Perfect ADA so far in this game. 2 members now on the grey screen for DCU. Trying to see if he can get Celestial, but a perfectly timed Zonian will deny Rengus once more. GA will be popped, and you have to imagine the Camille will be popped straight away out of that respawn. Mezzi 8-0 and 8. And this is going to be the game here with only Cyber Ninjas and Witzel left to make a defense. TUD had to work for it in game 1, but showing that they could team fight their way. They could get the objectives on the map to get them to a victory and put themselves 1-0 up in this best of 2. What a game to start us off here for the Collegiate Championship 2019. We are probably going to be going to a short break because we get the teams ready for game 2, and as I get some CSGO servers set up for the CSGO games that are happening now. But make sure you guys stick around. We'll be back in just a few minutes with game 2 of this series.
up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the follow, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of the world that we defy. Soaring of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back. And I say we because we have Sandstorm back. Currently, I believe, taking a fire extinguisher to his computer in order to try get everything to work. So
The fire is spreading to the curtains. This isn't good.
it happens, but so we are still in the middle of the series. Game 1 went to TUD, who are looking to finish off with a 2-0 and start off their 2019 Collegiate Championship campaign with a clean win, but DCU out for revenge now on the blue side here. And we have the first couple of bans coming in, going straight towards that top lane. Rengus, wary of the Scion, of how Mu played on it both defensively and offensively, immediately banning that, as well as the Zaya. Messi with a very good performance, banning out two of the big champions. Could see a Rek'Sai if they want to really run the table in terms of the bans of the big champions in game 1 that TUD brought out. Meanwhile, TUD, their ban strategy sticking on more of the same Jax and Aurelia, the first two.
Yeah, and I'm looking towards those bans here, and they seem to be focusing on exactly what destroyed them the first time around. They're taking the Scion away from the Mu. They're taking the Zaya away from Messi as well. So far, the focus from the side of the TU Apes seems to be exactly the same. Aurelia, Jax still taking away those solo laners away from Rengus. Now looking towards the Morgana as well, going to be the last ban here from the side. And now Fiora, still the same kind of bans. You don't want to be giving any split push pressure towards Rengus. We saw what he was able to do on the Camille in that first game. He was able to apply a lot of pressure, regardless of how tanky the Scion got. You can still see how much damage the Camille actually has. That true damage, from getting from the Rude combined with just her actual Q and how much damage she can actually do. So let's see what the next picks are going to be. Orianna first picked here for the side of DCU Titans, and the response is that Lucian Braum bottom lane. And once more, the Braum is being given away to Blue Bullberry, one of his most staple champions. And then you have the Lucian combined with that. The double proc going to be coming in with those concussive blows, going to be making it very, very easy for them to proc them, get those stuns, and seeing if they can actually take over the lane from those early stages.
Do you see the response is an Alistair for Witzel? So shifting strategy from the Morgana, with that being actually banned away by DCU in this game. But Lucian Braum is, I think, the perfect combination for this TUD bot lane, who already had a pretty good game 1, now potentially poised for an even better game 2. Against Alistair Ezreal, though, an entirely different kettle of fish to what they were going against in that game 1. But no top lane locked in for DCU in the first 3 picks. And Mu potentially looking to get an early Poppy pick coming in for TUD. And that may change up the dynamic of the second round of bans.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you looked at the composition from the side of the DCU Titans in the first game, they were all about pick potential. They were always about that split push pressure as well. And seeing that it didn't work out for them in the first place, they decided to change up the strategy this time around. Now they have an Alistair in the bot lane who can try and go for that engage with the headbutt pulverize. Excuse me. Combined with that Orianna Shockwave, that could be the play that they're going to try and go for. The fact that they haven't picked a top laner up yet is beyond me, because now you're going to be seeing even more picks going to be taken away here from Rengus in the top lane. You got the Camille already coming in, and I want to see what that last ban is going to be and what Rengus is going to be picking. basically will have to resort to going back to something tanky and play with the team. Maybe something like the Malphite, because that's something that he's played before a couple of times, and then combo that once more, have another sort of engage to combine with the Shockwave from the Oriana could be very, very good. And seeing if they can actually combo that together, because he had quite a few good engages last time on the Camille, but again, because there was no possible follow up from the team fight, they were all about the pick potential. It was never going to work. So maybe changing the strategy to going for a full on team composition focused on team fighting, that could work for them this time around.
I wonder, might we get the Malphite coming out here? One of Rengus's unique picks. A little bit different to the classic carry top players, but he has had some big performances in the past on Malphite. So would be cool if they want to back up the DCU team fight. However, talking about team fight, Jarvan the fourth pick for TUD in this game. I would imagine going towards that jungle position.
Yeah.
For Moot, looking for another big gank threat who also can contribute to the team fights. Nunu, though, right now being hovered by Kaylee Amna, so potentially looking for a bit of early pressure on his own end as well with Nunu and Willump. And but now we're looking to see what this last pick is into the Poppy. Aatrox being hovered right now. I think it'll be interesting to see what Rengus goes for in any case, because once again, you imagine that in order for DCU to be winning, he's going to be one of the players having a big performance in this game. But looks to swap up the last minute, and there it is. The Malphite is going to be coming out here. He wants that big team fight presence.
I mean, I absolutely called it. And just looking at the composition as it stands right now for this side of the DCU Titans, it just screams team fight. It just screams full on engage, kill absolutely everyone. I'm very curious to see how that's going to work out for them this time around. Again, the most important thing here would be to combo the Shockwave coming out from Cyber Ninja in that mid lane. And I guess it's very important that Poppy would be able to basically stand at the right place at the right time to try and deny that engage. And I'm just getting a word here from one of the players that the last pick, before I actually even see it, it might be I want to say placeholder.
I would hope it's a placeholder.
The Timo pick is actually a Lissandra, just to let you guys know.
That Lissandra makes a lot more sense.
The last pick here for the side of TUD.
All right, yeah, I mean, I feel as if you're going for a meta mid laner, Lissandra, probably a better bet than Timo. A bit more upside.
Yeah.
On her side. But yeah, so the lobby is being remade here, and we should be running through the pick and bans fairly quickly. So hopefully, this will be a quick run through. I'll probably cut to a little break before the game starts, but yeah. So all in all, what are you thinking of these compositions? I like that DCU have gone from a side lane split push, maybe focused composition to all in on the team fight. Malphite, Oriana, let's go.
Well, yeah, that basically tells me that they're going to try and scale into the later stages of the game. You got, of course, the Ezreal going to try and go for that double tier build. And as soon as he gets those, he's just going to be dishing out an insane amount of damage. As soon as he lands a W combined with that Mystic Shot, it's going to deal an insane amount of damage. And that's going to be one of the most important things. You're going to have the Ezreal to try and worry about. Even though, yes, you do have a Jarvan to try and go for an engage in the back line. But an Ezreal's always going to have that slow. I'm assuming against a composition like that, you'd have to go Iceborne Gauntlet. Then you'd have the Essence Flux to try and escape. You're always going to have the Flash as well if it hasn't been used before. So it's going to take quite a lot from the side of TUD to try and actually take down any of the members coming out from the side of the DCU Titans. So I'm very curious to see how they're going to make it work. But this time around, I'll definitely have to give it to the side of the DCU Titans, rather. Their composition just seems so much more put together. They already have an idea of what they want to execute in this game, and I want to see if they're going to be able to do it this time around.
I think it makes a lot more sense for them, given how Game 1 shook out, and given what these guys will try to do, I guess, but didn't really execute on in that first game. It makes a lot more sense. Rengus with those flanks this time. Camille flanking for that back line was okay, but the Malphite landing a multi-man knockup will very quickly cause problems for TUD, provided Rengus can connect with the unstoppable force. It will change potentially the early game dynamic, though. We saw Camille get the early game, and from that point, things became potentially very dangerous for TUD, and it was only the fact that they were finding the skirmishes, able to focus on the important parts of the map, that allowed them to take back a lead and take over the game. This time, while the team fights are not so set towards their composition, they also don't have to potentially worry about the individual carry threats of certain champions on that DCU side. So TUD have different things to consider, but it's not all bad given the comp DCU have drafted.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they still have the Lucian, they still have the Braum to rely on. So the most important thing here to know for the side of the TUD Apes is that they have to try and be as oppressive and aggressive as possible in those early stages of the game. You want to try and snowball as much as possible when you have the chance, because if you leave the game to scale, if you leave the game to get to, let's say, 25, 30, 35 minutes, when it gets to that point in the game, the DCU Titans composition is just going to overrun you and overpower you. So it's, again, once more, we're going to be looking towards the jungle. Moot did a decent job in the first game. He was late a couple of times, but he was still able to come to the right lane and try to relieve some of that pressure as much as possible. So now it's going to be on him again. And mainly, I want him to focus towards the bottom side of the map. Because if he goes top lane, Poppy against Malphite, you're not going to be able to do much like in the top lane. So you want to try and focus your strength towards the bottom side. You want to try and focus getting that lane ahead, getting that Lucian fed, and then allow him to take over the game.
Yes, certainly. It's going to be interesting to see how these two compositions clash. A very different dynamic to what we had in game one of this series. And maybe it's the winning formula for DCU. They can pull it back to a tied series at 1 apiece, or potentially TUD once again have their opponent's number and can run it out for a clean 2-0 victory. We're going to go to a quick break as the players get ready to get into game. And when we are back, we'll be bringing you the second game of this best of 2 between the DCU Titans and the TUD Apes.
좋아할 거야 닿을 수 없는
Welcome to the world, no heroes and villains. Welcome to the war, we've only begun. So pick up your weapon and face it. There's blood on the ground, go and take it. You get one shot to make it out alive. So higher and higher you chase it. It's deep in your bones, go and take it. This is your moment, now is your time. So prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Push through heaven. Rise, rise. They will remember you. Welcome to the climb up, reach for the summit. Visions break the one false step, lead the end. So higher and higher you chase it. It's deep in your blood, go and take it. This is your moment. Take to the skies, go. Prove yourself and
And we are onto the Rift for the second game of this best of two. DCU on the blue side, TUD on the red side. TUD with the 1-0 lead in this series. Just go over a few other scores. There are a lot of games happening in the Collegiate Championship. In Division 1, UCD, the Winter Bash champions, off to a good start with a 2-0 win against IADT. And Maynooth as well, managed to get a 2-0 win over CIT. Well, as Moot throws the flag down in the bush to catch out Cyber Ninjas. In Division 2, we had Trinity, who skipped out on the Winter Bash. Obviously, the reigning championship champions of Division 2, starting off with a 2-0 win against Ulster University. Meanwhile, we had the two DCU teams in Div 2 in action. DCU B team 1-0 down against Maynooth currently, but the DCU A team are currently 1-0 up against... I have actually tapped out, so I was trying to remember it all from memory. So I nearly had it all, but right now, yeah, it is the DCU A team who are currently 1-0 up in Division 2 over TUD. So it's a mirror match with this one, but DCU actually with the 1-0 lead. So avenging their Div 1 comrades a little bit, but you imagine the DCU Div 1 team will want to get a bit of revenge of their own here in Game 2.
Yeah, they need to try and fight back against this lineup here from the side of the TUD Apes. As you said, every single win is going to count here, especially against a team alike the TUD Apes. They have to try and see if they can actually fight back and draw it back to a 1-1. So far, let's have a look at towards the junglers. Moot and Liam are going to be both starting towards that top side of the map, so they could both potentially be rotating towards that scuttle. You can see that there is quite a decent bit of vision in the top side river. You have a ward in the brush in the mid lane, and then you also have a ward in the pixel brush. I want to find out if the skull crab is going to be contested by the Nuno, or at least have some sort of vision on the jungler. It's going to be very important in those early stages of the game.
Oh, there's the level 2 Lucian Broad power spike in the bottom lane, going straight towards Annihilation, and immediately that Ezreal down to around 10% health. Going to be getting a little bit of it back with those potions, but definitely picking out that lane as a potential strong point for TUD in this matchup, and already Mezzy and Blueberry asserting dominance on that lane. You know, Rengus on the top side, the early trades on this Malphite not really going in his favor.
He was taking quite a lot of damage from those minions, so the trades did go heavily in favor of Moo in the top lane, but they both have Grasp. Both going to be trying to hammer away at each other, but oh, Liamna, here we go.
Looking for the early play, but Moo has the heroic charge to quickly get himself away from the Malphite and towards his own tower, and no real danger coming out of that gang.
Very well played. Very good usage of the heroic charge, and he's still on top HP-wise against Rengus on that Malphite. Let's see here. Looking towards Moo once more. Since he did spot out that Kiliamna was towards the top side, he looks like he is rotating towards that red buff. Attempting to steal a buff here, but you can see that Kiliamna is actually headed towards the red buff. Oh, this could be very, very crucial. Moot does have the smite, but Kiliamna is going to have that consume and the smite. It's going to be very, very hard to try and actually contest it away. And the red buff was actually secured by Moot. Very well played against the Nunu. That is not an easy task. Very well
yeah, we managed to deny that from one of the more buff camp control oriented champions in the game. Moot really stepping into his own, making up from the early game gaffes of the previous game in this series. On the top side, you see Rengus quickly reasserting control of that lane. What we've come to expect out of his Malphite. More of a bully in lane than you would expect most Malphite players to be.
Yeah, exactly. And Moot's having actually a little bit of a hard time because he has used all his corrupting potion procs. He doesn't really have anything more to sustain himself with in that lane. Now you can see that Rengus is recalling as well. He have just a decent bit of money to actually try and buy something. He has a cloth armor and a ruby crystal. But he's still actually out CS a little bit in that top lane. Even though that Kiliamna went towards that top side of the map to try and apply pressure on the move. So Moose still has a level advantage and a CS advantage. Let's see what he's going to be able to do that as we progress later on in the game. And you were talking about Annihilation being a huge boon actually for the side of the DCU Titans. But looking at Mezzi and looking at Annihilation, especially looking at Mezzi and how he played in that last game, Annihilation's positioning wasn't really the best when it came to team fights because he was barely able to apply damage. It was mostly Rengus who was diving towards the backline, and Annihilation was just barely able to get in those spots to try and auto attack away, considering that he was playing a champion like the Sivir. Must have been a pretty difficult thing for him to try and do here. But Mezzi is very good AD carry. And he's very used to playing against those kinds of matchups. And his positioning in those last fights and in that last game were pretty good. A lot better, you know, compared to Annihilation when you put them next to each other. But I want to see how they're going to be playing it out here.
Yeah, Mezzi with the big performance in game one here and a big start to this laning phase. You pointed out Annihilation with potentially a few positioning errors in the first game. Ezreal, a champion that can rectify that pretty nicely. Moot able to rectify his own positioning error with that flag and drag before he is caught out by Cyber Ninjas, who is level 6, not Orianna, so Shockwave could be making a big impact in these skirmishes from this point onward. But yeah, in this bottom lane, Mezzi and Blueberry just flat out generating a big CS lead. Different story between these two teams. Last time it was DCU had control of the early game in terms of the gold, but right now that is slowly edging out in TUD's favor.
And I'm looking towards Moot on the Jarvan, lurking in that brush here, but there is a ward in the second brush, so if he decides to move in, it could be pretty dangerous. And they're pretty far away from that level 6 for the side of Blueberry and Mezzi, so I'm not looking at anything of an engage like that Glacial Fissure. And one thing to actually note, oh, yeah, Moot's going to be spotted out here, I think, by that ward. He might be in range, yeah. They definitely know that he's actually in that bottom side of the map.
Yeah.
So they're going to be playing pretty safe. And one thing to know, actually, itemization-wise, something that I've seen recently from Ezreal players, whenever they're against someone who can basically bully them in that lane and apply pressure by pushing the lane a little bit more, they usually go for the Sheen first before going towards the Tear of the Goddess to try and, I guess, go even in those trades and try and actually have a little bit more power when it comes to pushing the lane, and then they go for the Tear of the Goddess. So, going for the Tear a little bit earlier on means that they're basically giving up the early laning phase. They're giving up on taking any sort of early fight, because right now all he has is the Tear, so there's basically no damage that's going to be coming out from the Ezreal.
I mean, you say they're giving up. Definitely looks like they're dead to rights just in terms of the pure laning. With the pressure that Mezzi and Blueberry have generated, they can pretty easily swing over to that Drake. Help Moot take it. First Mountain Drake of the game going over to TUD and capitalizing on a great advantage they've netted for themselves in that area of the map. But the goal between the two teams across the board is still fairly even. That Ezreal with those Kleptomancy procs doing a good job of keeping himself close on the terms of gold, and as a result the CS discrepancy, while Mezzi is ahead of his counterpart, the actual effect on the gold gap between the two champions is not what the CS scores would indicate.
Yeah, exactly. And now looking towards that Lucian and that first recall. Now he has a Bilgewater Cutlass and a dagger, so he has a decent more damage and attack speed. He has a sustain to stay in the lane a little bit longer. Now the Ezreal finally going to be able to pick up a Sheen, so he should be able to try and fight back a little bit when it comes to trading with Mezzi in the lane. And of course, Annihilation and Witzel have that level 6. And Blueberry and Messi just got their own. We could be looking at a potential fight in the bottom lane. Maybe sometime soon. Maybe. Who knows?
Yep. I mean, more action.
Epic prediction, by the way. A fight is going to happen at some time in the bottom lane.
At some time over the next hour or so, we may see a champion die in this League of Legends game. I would hope that's the case anyway, because if not, then we are in for what may be officially the most boring League of Legends game of all time. I would rather that not be the case, but we're coming up to this 10-minute mark with 0 kills, so these teams playing it a lot more defensively than they would in Game 1, perhaps to be expected with a bit of a team fight focus from both of these sides, but not really the opportunities to team fight yet. But both these junglers have been a lot quieter than they were in the previous game. Last time you had the Rek'Sai versus the Jinja, there was a lot of top lane focus, but even with champions like the Nunu and the Jarvan, neither of these junglers really been able to get anything going when they have visited the lanes, which hasn't been too often at all.
And what's kind of surprising me is the fact that Kiliamna on the Nunu is falling behind CS-wise against the Jarvan. I'm not saying that Jarvan's bad necessarily. Hell no. No, Jarvan's an incredible jungler at the moment. But you're still playing Nunu. Your clear is still pretty damn decent. You're the one that should be out farming. It looks like Moon is definitely on his A game today. One thing to actually note here is the fact that there's a lot of vision towards the top side of the map. You got 2 control wards for the side of the DCU Titan. You got one in the pixel bush, one behind the red buff as well. So you should be able to tell any time if there's going to be an invade towards the top, towards the mid lane from the top side.
Hey, dude.
Yeah.
Look at the Malphite infantry.
Oh my! What? Wait a minute. Hold up. Okay.
It's everyone's favorite Malphite build, going for that Trinity Force.
Oh no.
With that phage in the infantry to start off. That's what you want to see. I mean, Rengus, he's not going for your classic tank or even the big old full AP Malphite. He's getting that Trinity Force in, looking to.
I mean, they were trying to make a play towards the mid lane. Nunu was in the bottom brush. Malphite was rotating towards that narrow path between the Raptors and the river. Don't see if they can get an engage on Celestian, but he's not an easy person to lock down. You're Lissandra. You have your Frozen Tomb. You have a Flash available. You have your Claw as well. It's going to be pretty difficult for you to try and lock down that champion in the mid lane.
Yeah, it's...
So 12 minutes into the game still. Gold is basically dead even. Huge CS lead in the bottom lane, but the gold is still... The gold's actually 250 difference between Messi and Annihilation. Gold stacking seems to have slowed down a little bit, but he has a minion wave coming to him, so he should be pretty even at the moment.
Oh, actually, the shockwave in the mid lane here. Cyber Ninjas looking to see if he can finish off this kill. Celestion forced to use the Frozen 2, but this might allow Cyber Ninjas to get the damage on the way back, but a quick flash from Lissandra means that Celestion will not be giving over a kill, and the scoreboard remains at 0-0 between these two teams.
I'm not sure if it's Celestion or Celestian, one of them. But yeah, that was kind of a poor play coming from him. Cyber Ninja was just casually using the ball to try and do some damage, and he was just standing there and taking it. Not sure what he was trying to do there, but now Nunu trying to see if he can actually steal a buff away from Jarvan. Consume is there. I wonder if he knows about... that's a big question mark. Because you know that obviously you'd know if the camp was still alive or not. If you look at the minimap, you'd see that it was still there while the Nunu was taking it. Decided not to face check it, even though they had vision on the Malphite. And kind of traded in one buff for another here.
Yeah, it's again close calls I think for a few of these teams throughout the game. We actually see Moot was having a look towards the blue buff. Saw Nunu and quickly made his way out. However, straight in the bottom lane here, looking to see if they can get the kill, but a quick flash from Annihilation will avoid those concussive blows or the Glacial Fissure from connecting. Mezzi just firing those shots into an Alistair with his ultimate up, and aggression from Mezzi and Boo Berry not paying off with a kill once again, but they do get the flash off of the Ezreal.
Yeah, and they still have the culling actually on the Lucian, so have a little bit of an advantage. Now once more we return to that fight for that same place, for that same ward, that same push. There's a lot of and just pressure on that one. There's just so much love for that bush. I have no idea why.
Vision's important, man. Gotta keep control of the area. Mezzi knows it. Mezzi's clearing out that control ward.
Still pretty dangerous to do that on your own, though, without any vision on the jungler.
I mean, we did see Kaliana die in the last game, clearing a ward in that exact rush, but TUD have so much pressure in this area of the map that I think the Lucian is happy to stay there, has the defensive tools away to escape if he does find himself in trouble. They get their second Drake of the game as they clean up the Cloud. Good control of neutral objectives on this bottom side of the map. TUD, that area of the map, most over any of them, certainly excelling in the quietness of this early game. And those Drake buffs will help them as this game progresses.
Yeah, as the game progresses, that seems to be the only benefit that they're actually getting. Ooh, Moo making a play.
Oh, actually, Reg is so low there by the move, but he's not going to go down. The Poppy nearly had him, but Rengus keeps his cool, keeps his flash, and prevents himself from being the first casualty of this game. At this point, we're past 50 minutes. It's going to be a big black mark if you are the first one to fall in this game. And it actually could be Witzel here as Moot finds him in the bush, and now TUD looking to collapse from this Alistair. A nicely timed flash, though, will avoid the knockup that would have come through from the Jarvan flag and drag Rengus waiting in the bush. I'm not sure if he stepped out. And he's going to go with the unstoppable force. They have the Nunu there. It could be the move going down. He flashes away, but Rengus follows him up, throws up the peg with dab. First blood to the DCU top laner at 15 minutes into the game.
15 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock for that first blood. About time. Now, as soon as they get that first blood towards the top lane, Sebastian in the mid lane is taking dangerously low, and now you can see that actually he's taking a lot of damage from minions, and of course towards the top lane, gonna be able to secure first brick gold.
DCU immediately pulling the trigger on the top lane, not only in terms of the kill, but also getting that with the Rift Herald. Really nice passage of play from them, using the Rift Herald almost as soon as Kaliana got it. After taking the objective straight to the top lane, turns the gank into a kill. I'm not sure Moo that knew that Rengus was hanging around the lane. But that Malphite, with the early game damage coming through from those Trinity Force components, certainly had enough damage to finish off the Poppy at this early point in the game. And now 2,000 gold lead for DCU just off the back of that one play.
Yeah, and something that I actually said in Champion Select, something that was very important, is the fact that it's on Moot to try and make early aggressive plays. I have seen absolutely none of that. And the later that we get into the game, the worse and worse it gets, I feel, for the side of the TUD Apes. Because you're getting Annihilation right now. He's already starting on his second, or actually no, that's still his first tier. That's not stacked yet. But he should be starting on his second tier as soon as that one's done. And they're going to scale more and more as we progress into this game. It's going to be even worse. Now you're going to be seeing a TP coming towards the bottom side of the map here.
This is the fight breaking out here. Boobleberry with the Glacial Bishop starts this one off, but he's just a little bit too surrounded. Shockwave will hit two. Frozen Tomb dodges out, but the Bronze Ball's all the same. However, Annihilation was caught out by Moo at the back, and he will be traded as TUD get the first kill of the game. Celestial trying to follow up with the Claw, and they managed to lock Whistle in place. He headbutts the Poppy into the team, but that's the worst person to try be signaling out, and Mezzi will shoot him down. The Lightslinger getting kill number 2 for DCU. However, Rengus might think he has something onto Moon here. Doesn't have the ultimate in the Malphite, and as a result cannot keep the Jarvan in place long enough for the Malphite to slap away as the Malphite does. And TUD getting 2 kills off of that fight, leveling up the scoreboard.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was talking about before. The positioning from Annihilation isn't the best. That's exactly what happened here. He was left to, again, fend for himself one more time against Mezzi, against Smoot. And Ezreal will not be able to survive all that damage. Especially with his flash not being available, just makes it that much more difficult for him to actually try and survive. Giving away those 2 free kills. One was picked up on the Lucian and another one on the Poppy. Going to be one of those issues that they're going to have to try and deal with as much as possible. You have to try and peel for Annihilation, not leave him to die.
The tower didn't go down though, but Mezzi could be falling here. Annihilation able to flash forward, dash forward with the arcade shift. The Boobleberry going to be caught out by Kaliana as well. Trying to get that tower, but it just results in a double kill for the Ezreal. Bit of an oopsie from the TUD bot lane. Annihilation capitalizes.
Yeah, I mean, I was literally talking about his positioning, but now Mezzi and Blueberry were the ones that actually made those mistakes. They were trying and they were greeting for that turret in the bottom lane. And instead, they give away 2 kills and give away their own turret as well. So That's not the best of trades. It's a very horrible one. Probably the worst trade in the history of all trades.
Oh, Rengus goes over the wall and they find the combo! That is not what Celestion expected. Has been getting away with a few of those mid lane trades, but this time it is not to be. They finally take out the Lysandra and now looking to take out the mid lane tower as well. Would make it 3-0 in that tower score. DCU shooting out to a big early gold lead.
Yeah, very, very well played by them. Their rotations are on point. You got Killian now rotating towards the bottom lane, helping getting a double kill for the side of the DCU Titans. Then rotating towards the mid lane once more, but it was all on Rengus. It was all on Cyber Ninja to take down Celestion, and now they get themselves their first strike of the game. Yeah, Cloud one, but they might be in trouble here.
It could have been, but Heliam, though, with the nice flash after the Braum ultimate was used, does mean that he is not picked up off the back of that Drake pickup. However, TUD may be turning their attention towards this mid lane tower, but there are a few bodies in that middle lane to mount some sort of a defense. Wave clear, maybe not fantastic, although Annihilation does have that Iceborne Gauntlet to aid a little bit, and Ring is happy to stand for it. Maybe they can do a fight here if they can catch someone out with the snowball. Blueberry will be the sacrificial lamb. Braum's role in this game as Annihilation takes him out to go on a killing spree over Lysandra. Looking to see can she get to the AD carry, but Annihilation has the arcane shift to dash back to safety. Another free kill for DCU, seeing if they can make it number 2. Unstoppable Force is available. Rengus just needs to get in range, and he does manage to catch up the Jarvan. Whistle goes to the other target, splitting the focus, but they do manage to get loot all the same. However, the turnaround might come in, but a double kill already for Cyber Ninjas on the Orianna. And they don't lose anyone, keeping Kaliamna alive on the tower with barely any health left. DCU going from strength to strength.
Yeah, it's just getting worse and worse here as we get into the later stages of the game. The TUD APES getting absolutely hammered here on the side of the DCU Titans, and looks like they might actually stop just here. They might actually take a little bit out of position. He does have his flash though.
Oh, Blueberry though thinks he might have a fight here, and Rengus is not very tanky at this stage of the game. Messi says thank you very much and finds one extra off of that. They thought they might have had move, but the Poppy proving to be a little bit tankier, and TUD may be able to steady the ship a little bit.
Yeah, now they set their sights on that bot lane turret finally. It's just a few hits away from being secured. A little bit of standing gold for them to try and claim for themselves, see if they can actually get back into this game, because right now they're 4,000 gold behind. Witzel, who barely almost showed himself with that auto attack. No. Just gonna be recalling here. The turret should be going in favor of the side of the TUD Apes.
Yeah, this is literally one auto attack. There we go. That is dropped by Mezzi. Finally, first turret taken down, but still a bit of a ways to come back into this game. 3,500 is the goal deficit roughly that TUD face as we approach 22 minutes into the game. And it's not like last time where they could just stack 5 champions on top of each other and automatically win the team fight. They have to go against the Malphite, the Orianna, the Alistair, all these big CC AoE abilities to have to watch out for. Going to be tricky to wrestle the objectives away from DCU if the blue team play it correctly.
Yeah, exactly. And I have to praise the DCU Titans here. Just the way that they're actually playing the composition. I said it was going to be very, very important in how they play. They were trying to play this kind of style with a single pick composition that they had in the last game, and it massively failed. But this time, they're doing incredibly well so far. You got Rengus, who's just doesn't even care. He'll build whatever the hell he wants, and he'll still be able to come out on top in the trades. I mean, he's dealing a lot of damage to a Jarvan as a Malphite.
Moot looking for the engage though onto Cyber Ninjas. Has the Cataclysm as well. This should be a dead Orianna. The burst damage though might allow them to take it down with a great shield. Will stop the Jarvan from falling. And then Messi going straight towards Annihilation. Blueberry able to get the kill with the Winter's Fight. And this might be the fight that TUD want. They do lose their AD carry, but they've already got 2. However, the flank is coming out. For Rengus in the back line, a big knock up. Followed up on the Unstoppable Force. Do they have the damage? They have enough to take out the Braum, but I'm not sure they can do anything else with both their carries already taken off of the map. Rengus is so low in this fight. One last Lysandra Q connects the shard. Will take Rengus out. The frozen troll will hunt them down. Witzel is the next casualty, dropped by Moo, and Kaliamna trying his best to survive as much as possible. Does get back to the safety of his tower, but the surprise engage from Moo works out wonders, and TUD find a fight against the run of play.
I have to say, Blue Bullberry coming out huge with that shield, saving his jungler. And a perfectly timed flash as well, you have to say, from Mood to jump and duck into cover here. Very, very well played. And they tried to just position themselves as, I guess, as well as possible. And again, I talked about this before, the positioning from Annihilation wasn't the best, and Mezzi was able to capitalize on that. Now he had the Bork, he had the Black Cleaver, and he was just able to shred through absolutely everything here in that last team fight. And this looks like they do have a chance in this game. They were falling behind a little bit in the last few minutes, but that fight definitely showed me that still, even though the side of the DCU Titans have an incredible composition, the TUD Apes still have a few tricks up their sleeve.
And now they have control over this Drake pit. If they could grab an Infernal, that's going to go a long way into benefiting them. But the engage with the backline, though, could spell disaster for TUD. Not able to get the quick kills, though. And once again, Annihilation being focused out. Dropped immediately here. Cyber Ninja's trying to get a kill back with the Shockwave. They will be able to get Celestial, but this might just be coming in a bit too slow with their 80 carry already dead. Cyber Ninja's the next victim here. Regus tried to catch this Javelin at the back, but he cannot catch up after the Chilling Smite. Meanwhile, Moo going to be punted away by the Alistair to safety. Rengus trying to catch any kills for himself, but he just doesn't have the damage, and now he is being focused as all the remaining members of TUD collapsed on him. A calamity of errors in the team fight for DCU will lead to another victory for their opponents, and likely this Infernal Drake for TUD.
Yeah, back-to-back fights coming in here for the side of the TUD Apes. Come out on top in this one, and once more, they take down Annihilation. They focus down that AD carry. As soon as they eliminate him from that team fight, and you have to say the combination of the Cataclysm and then Moo just pushing Ninja into that Cataclysm wall, stunning him once more, perfectly placed, and just gave them the time to take down the second damage source from the side of the DCU Titans. And then you have Rengus. Rengus is just trying to do something on that Malphite, and it just doesn't seem to be working. Everyone's either too fast or too far away. As soon as he uses that unstoppable force, he can't really chase down anyone else. They tried to get a beautiful engage on Mezzi, but it just wasn't enough. The damage wasn't there. The follow-up wasn't there. Cyber Ninja was too far. Annihilation was already dead at that point. And then it just means that DCU Titans again fall behind, and this fight finally puts them at 200 gold ahead for the side of the TUD Apes. That's the one. TUD, DCU, that's all confusing me a little bit. But yeah, now they have a little bit of an advantage. It's not much, but they were 5,000 gold behind at one point.
Oh, and now setting up what is potentially a death rush towards this Baron Pit. They have the Ezreal ultimate to scope it out, though, but now potentially looking for the engage here. Move, looking to flash for the Orianna. Not able to connect with the stun, though, but that Poppy in the back line could cause a few problems. Can Rengus find the right ultimate here? Celestial, once again, also gunning for Cyber Ninja's Annihilation, though. A bit isolated at the back of the fight here. Rengus going to go over the wall with his ultimate, but it is dodged out by the stopwatch here. That could spell disaster. A lot of damage on Celestial. They finally managed to get down this Nostalgia. The Shockwave as well will lock up the front line. 2 quick kills for DCU. Rengus has gone down, but I think he's already done most of the work that he needs to in this fight. The shutdown comes through onto the Nunu by Mezzi, and the Lucian actually now looking to turn this fight around. But dash forward to Cyber Ninja, which goes a little bit too far forward, and there's just enough time for DCU to secure that kill before they lose their Orianna. DCU managing to evade the engage just in time to get the members there. Annihilation stays alive, and DCU win the fight.
Yeah, but look at Mood here. He's gonna just thought about maybe going for a play here, but I just have to say, finally a huge wombo combo comes in for the side of the DCU Titans here. They were able to combo absolutely everything. You had the absolute zero, you had the shockwave, you had the true shot barrage as well, all combined to deal just an insane amount of damage. And Mezzi almost turned that fight around for the side of the TUD Apes, but it just wasn't enough. He just went a little bit too deep, took too much damage. Annihilation stayed alive in that fight, and that just meant that they were able to take that fight away and finally win a team fight. The UD Apes just a little bit over aggressive here, but I have to say, Celestion with that perfectly timed Zhonya's Hourglass to dodge away from the unstoppable force. Just bought them a little bit more time, but still very well played to the side of the DCU Titans here to come out on top, because now they're trying to set themselves up with a little bit more vision, trying to see if they can actually go for this Baron play within the next few minutes.
These team fights, so all these just margin calls deciding them almost in a lot of these scenarios. Mezzi look dangerous, but he tries to go aggressive for these backline carries. Sometimes it works out spectacularly, other times it results in the fight being secured by DCU as they clean up the Lucian.
One thing to note as well here, Annihilation just picked up his second tier of the Goddess, by the way. So it's going to take him a little bit more time to get even stronger here. Let's see if they actually manage to get to that point in the game.
Yeah, it's Ezreal continuing to scale on through. Had a tricky laning phase, but once he's managing to stay alive in these team fights, can cause quite a few problems. Witzel actually hex flashing over the wall, trying to see can he catch a pick here. Able to stun a Blueberry at the front. He's using the Glacial Fissure to buy some time. Rengus runs to the rest of the team on the flank, but the Malphite is too tanky at this stage for them to take out immediately. They find the pick onto Blueberry, and now with 5 members over towards the Barret area, DCU have control. Maybe looking to find a fight if they can catch up with the move. They hit him with the snowball, and this Poppy could be in trouble, but it will take a time for them to come through that health bar. The True Shot Barrage will add a little bit of damage on the back, but just not enough to get through the defenses of the tank. However, now potentially looking to peel back towards this Baron with still 15 seconds left on the Braum.
Yeah, let's see. Moot is a little bit low here, but it doesn't even care. It doesn't even matter. He's going to try and see if he can actually get himself into position to try and steal the Whistle between 4 members, though.
Big engage from him, just trying to disrupt things. The Shockwave hits 4 from Cyber Ninjas, and that is exactly what DCU need. They just mop up the kills onto everyone after that. Talk about the wombo combo. There it is from DCU, and now the Baron is theirs.
Beautiful, beautiful play here coming up from the side of Witzel, being able to knock up every single member that was alive from the side of the TUD Apes, and then an incredible shockwave coming in to follow that up. This means that they get themselves 4 kills, the Baron, and extend their lead once more to 5,000 gold. TUD Apes in a huge trouble here, as the DCU Titans are just setting themselves up to trade back. See if they can actually get this game to a 1-1.
Yeah, Mezzi and Blueberry, the survivors of the massacre, picking up a consolation Cloud Drake, but that was potentially the breaking point of this game. It only takes one big team fight with champions like Orianna and Alistair on your side, and DCU able to catch it there. And now ready to do some damage to these towers and really accelerate the goal lead that they currently possess.
Able to do here, because right now TUD Apes just gonna have to try and see if they can survive the pressure that's gonna be coming out from the side of the DCU Titans with that Baron. But because you got Rengus towards the bottom side applying pressure, there's actually a TP on Celestion, so he has to be the one to respond to Rengus in the bottom lane. But you got 4 members from the side of the DCU Titans running down mid. Rengus on the bottom side applying that pressure. He's gonna be able to take down that turret as well. There it goes. Now finally the Moo's going to be responding to Malphite. Let's see what they're going to try and do here. Looks like they're going to try and go for a kick, maybe onto Rengus. They're going to try and push him away, because Rengus doesn't actually have any magic resist whatsoever. He's just fully stacked on armor. So Celestion will be able to quickly shred through him. Relatively.
It's still going to be tricky for him to deal with this Malphite. However, the rest of the team will certainly help him out in that regard. Rengus with a nice flash and unstoppable force will get him to safety. Playing the distraction for the moment, but manages to escape with his life, and this might give the rest of DCU some time to push in that top lane.
I have no idea what they were trying to go and do there. Of course, Rengus had a flash. Of course, he has the unstoppable force. There's no way you're going to be able to stop it. Now, Celestial with no mana. So let's see if he can actually stop Malphite in the bottom lane. Definitely can't. He's too tanky. The turret's gonna fall.
He's just ignoring
you have to force the fight
him.
In top lane.
Demolishing the tower, and he will go down. Meanwhile, these 2 Baron buffed up cannon minions doing all of the work that DCU need. A couple more autos, but the minion wave has got to them, so we'll distract them, slow them down for a little while. Rengus now, though, a new challenger approaches, but he can deal with Moot all the same. The split focus from DCU working wonders. They take out the tower in the top side, looking to bear down on this inhibitor. On the bottom lane, Rengus finishes the job, takes out the bottom lane inhibitor. Super Minions will now be spawning in that bottom lane, looking for the top lane as well, but Moon thinking of an engage if he can get close enough. However, it's tough to go on that Nunu with no walls really close by for the Poppy to land the stun. DCU, knowing they may be overstaying their welcome, just a few seconds short of proccing that stun, means that Kaliamnat will be fine. And now just switching the pressure towards mid, DCU just pushing every little inch of advantage they can get for themselves with this Baron buff.
And at this point, you see, this is exactly what the side of the TUD Apes should have done with their Baron buff in the last game. This exactly shows you what you can do when you split up and apply pressure in every single lane rather than running it down mid. They already cracked the inhibitor in the bottom lane, they destroyed it. They cracked the turret in the top lane as well. The mid lane seems to be safe for now. You got the Elder Dragon spawning in a minute and a half. You got a 4 Elemental Drake stack so far on the side of the TUD Apes. That is the glimmer of hope for them. That is the light at the end of a very, very dark tunnel. If they're able to secure that Elder Drake, then maybe, just maybe, they can take the team fight and actually take the win here. Other than that, I don't see them winning this game. You need to try and actually focus down on surviving the next few minutes, but let's see what's going to happen here, because so far, DCU Titans have been on point with their wombo combos.
It's tough to see just how they can do it. Their team fight, they do have the team fight tools. They could catch a nice Jarvan ultimate, follow up the Lucian damage here, but Rengus actually forced to use his ultimate there, so that will be down. However, the rest of DCU, no Baron buff, but they can still get their push going. However, TUT now looking to collapse the mid lane. Celestial flashing for it, able to get the Frozen 2 off the Cyber Ninjas, but the cleanse immediately, and the flash to get him to safety, keeps him far away. The Shockwave is 2 in the backline. A Whistle looks for the re-engage. Celestial nearly taken down as he pops his Zonya's Airglass. Rengus now looking for the flank on the backside. They finally take out the Lissandra, and these TUD health bars are just being depleted left, right, and center. Messi goes over the wall to try and get himself a bit of distance, but he can only watch as his team falls. His top laner goes down to the Ezreal. Annihilation will hunt him down too as well eventually. That is a 3-4-0 in favor of DCU, and this might just be game.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be the game here once more. Trying to execute a play and take down Rengus. Someone with an unstoppable force who can easily escape from you. And their attempt just fails. Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like the DCU Titans are going to be able to fight back. This series rather is going to be ending in a 1-1.
It will be a 1-1 for our first series of the tournament here on the stream as the DCU Titans fight back in Game 2. A switch of a strategy certainly working for them in that game. Rengus going for the Malphite, a classic pick, and once again another big performance from him. But Cyber Ninjas in that mid lane. Few crucial ultimates at the end of the game to really turn things around.
Yeah, very, very well played from him. I mean, obviously, you can't forget Witzel and basically what he did as well. When the fight actually broke out right behind the Baron pit, he was the one that bought the time and distracted 4 members from the side of the TUD Apes. He was the one to knock them up, combo them, and then just allow Ninja to get in there at the right time, use that shockwave, and instantly obliterate the lineup of the TUD Apes here. So very, very well played, and the wombo combo just came in. Annihilation had a little bit of a rough time at the start, but when he actually got the chance, when he got the space and the freedom because of his team getting the right engages at the right time, he was able to dish out an insane amount of damage. Very, very well played here by both teams for securing a win for themselves in the first week, but it's still going to be a draw for both of them at the end of the day.
It's just a quick heads up on scores from across. We already had a few of the scores. But UCD in Div 1 managed to beat IADT 2-0. We had Maynooth with the 2-0 win against CIT. We just saw the game on stream was 1-1 between TUD and DCU. And UCC currently 1-0 up against Trinity, who've made the finals of the last few competitions anyway. So showing off good here, UCC in their first game here in the Collegiate Championship. Meanwhile, in Division 2, we had Trinity beating Ulster University 2-0. Maynooth managing to close out a 2-0 win against the DCU Titans B. But the DCU Titans A showing up with the 2-0 win themselves against TUD there. So all in all, DCU beating TUD 3-1 in the direct matchups across the day. But from myself and Sandstorm, that will be it this evening. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back on Tuesday or Monday, potentially, depending on how things work out, for our CSGO stream. Follow Irish Collegiate Esports on Facebook to keep yourselves updated with that. But next Sunday, we'll be back with the second round of the 2019 Collegiate Championship. So thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you're back on Sunday, and a very good evening.